I'd like to talk about putter fitting and the process of matching up the golfer's stroke to the type of putter. You know, it's common wisdom that if you have a straight back, straight through stroke, that you should use a face balanced putter so that that will match up and help you produce a square club face at impact. It's not quite that simple because in order to have a straight back and straight through stroke, the golfer must close the face on the way back and open it on the way forward, so there is torque being applied to the stroke from the golfer. Now, face balance putters have different rates of rotation depending on the location of the center of gravity in the putter head. So one face balance putter is going to open at a different rate than another, and that torque is when we put the club in the inclined plane and put it into motion, then the center of gravity affects the torque. So you're trying to match up the golfer who's closing and opening the stroke with the type of rotation in the stroke. Now we have toe balanced putters, and it's generally thought that a toe balanced putter is going to help someone that has an arc stroke. Now you have slight arc strokes and you have stronger arc strokes, and then the putter designs have different rates of torque in them. So this torque when the putter is put in motion. So I think it's easy to see that this is a complicated process. It can be very complicated because golfers are having different effects on the putter, and then the putter is having a different effect on the golfer. So depending on if you change your stroke, maybe you need to change your putter. So and then it all gets down to timing of all these motions in order to produce a square club face at impact. You have to time the golf motion, the rotation, and the torque in the putter. So there's an alternative to this, and that is to have a stroke that does not have torque on the putter, where the mechanics do not affect the opening and closing and keeps the putter square. And that's an end range type stroke, and that's what the DynAlign stroke is. It's a stroke that removes slack in the joints to produce a more stable club face, where the golfer does not influence the opening and closing of the club face. There's no motion, no torque being applied to the putter from the golfer. The club's going to travel on a stable path depending on your arm length, your height, and everyone will have a slightly different path, but you can have a very stable path when you take out the effect of the golfer on the golf club. Now, then you have the torque in the putter that is going to affect this stroke, and depending on the amount of torque in the putter, you can minimize that by increasing your grip pressure. So if you have a stroke that has, even if you have a stroke that does have manipulation in it, then you can kind of counteract the amount of torque in that putter by grip pressure. But when you increase your grip pressure, you're affecting your sensitivity in your hands and your feel for distance. So if you can imagine, if you're going to roll a ball, if you pinch that ball and try to roll it, it's going to interfere with your sensitivity of how hard you want to roll that ball. So an alternative to this is to use a stroke that has no torque in it with a putter that has no torque in it. So we have the toe balanced, toe up putter here that has the center of gravity right on the striking face. So when this putter is put into motion, then it doesn't open or close. There's no torque affecting the stroke. And then matching that up with a golfer stroke that has no torque in it, an end range type stroke, you have a much less complicated job here to produce a square club face at impact, because you're not having twisting from two different sources to calculate and recreate at when you're playing, and especially under pressure, that's when these variations will show up. If you're trying to have a straight back, straight through stroke, you may not open it up, or if you have an arc stroke, you may not release that putter head, or you may release it too much under pressure. So by using an end range type stroke, like the DynAlign stroke, then you can just eliminate a lot of calculations in your stroke and make it much more simple to have a repeatable, consistent stroke, and especially under pressure.